Well, are you guys ready to get your creative juices flowing? Let's talk about it.
Yay!
This is the Unexpected Podcast. Well, hey, everybody. How are you doing today, Lee?
I am, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. But, that's all right because that's going to kind of segue into our topic today, which I thought it would be a good idea to talk about creativity. And it's such a broad topic. But I've come across a few little nuggets about creativity lately. So I thought they'd make a great jumping off point because, as a lot of people will attest, we're all born creative. Some of us grow up and forget that we're creative.
That's true.
Yeah.
This is true.
Yeah. So let me read something that I read the other day that I came across. And it's a Chinese proverb. Of course, a proverb is just a short little statement that denotes some kind of truth. But It said, "Be not afraid of going slowly. Be afraid of standing still." And to me, that really applies to any kind of creativity or any kind of art that we're trying to create, music, writing, whatever the case may be. Going slow is okay as long as you're moving.
Well, I mean, it's like the reference that people say, it's like idle hands are the devil's workshop.
Yeah, well, it's a good saying. It's a good little proverb.
Yeah.
Because if you're just sitting around doing nothing, of course, I think probably originally that saying was really alluding to falling into some kind of sin, but it can also, I think, allude to just falling into discouragement or being stale, being
blah,
purposeless,
being blah,
without direction.
No direction.
Yeah. So I like that because, there are different times in our lives where, we might have one season of our life where we're really productive and we're really feeling it.
Yeah.
Then we enter into another time. And, like in my case, several months ago, released my first work of fiction. So as I was writing the book and finishing it up,
The Astonishing Pilgrimage of Mary J. Krause.
Right. And just to give you a little brief synopsis, this is a coming-of-age novel set in the 1980s. But what a lot of people don't realize is that organized crime isn't just the stuff that happens in movies like The Godfather. That small towns also have their little networks of crime. And so Mary finds herself kind of intertwined in some dangerous scenarios due to the things that her family is wrapped up in. And she's going to go on her own spiritual journey. So I really would love if you guys check that out on Amazon.
Available on Amazon.
Yeah, and I think you can still read it free on if you're a Kindle subscriber, if you have the Kindle Unlimited. So I'd love for you guys to do that. That being said, as I was finishing up that book, I was so excited because the thing that I was most excited about was that I got to move on to the next project.
Right.
But then, life takes its toll and things happen. And, if you write a book and you're self-published, you're an indie author, then, you have to do your own marketing and promo. And I don't like marketing and promo. I don't feel good at marketing and promo.
I don't think you feel like you're worthy of marketing your own stuff.
Oh, dear.
Oh, that's a whole nother topic.
Maybe. But then I kind of settled into, I don't want to say total discouragement, but I felt like the creative juices weren't flowing there for a while. But you know what I did? I didn't feel like starting another novel. I didn't feel like doing that. So I've started just journaling. I've started writing some short stories, or at least the beginnings of stories. So I'm moving slow, but I'm moving.
That's it.
Yeah.
I feel the same way with music. I'm, we can get into another thought in this, but I've been trying different things of modern technology to help me write.
Yeah.
New songs. I have an idea, but I just can't get the structure.
Yeah.
So sometimes, I do research or something, much like, artists go into reading a book or do research on a subject to find out more about it or whatever. It's kind of hard to get past that plateau.
Well, creativity doesn't happen in a vacuum. So, everyone is building upon someone else's creativity to a degree. You're drawing from your life experiences. You're drawing from things that you've read, things that you've studied, things that you're interested in. So yeah, you'd use different tools to see what gets you where you need to be.
And I think, of course, I've said this a lot, is we're a culmination of all of the experiences we've had throughout our life. And this culmination can be looked at as though you're cheating. And, but you're not cheating. You're just interpreting.
Right.
Really is all it is. And it's like, this is my life. This is what I've experienced. These are the people I've listened to, singing wise, songs. I'm a culmination of multiple things. Yeah. But the creativity flows a little bit better when you got a little kickstart sometimes.
Right. And everyone does. I mean, if you look at someone like Shakespeare, he and many writers throughout history were not writing original stories, but they were taking already existing stories and then modifying them or putting a new spin on it. I mean, that's just always been done. And so, when you're dealing with universal truths and that sort of thing, you're just taking it, putting your spin on it.
Disney did that a lot.
Yeah.
All the old cartoons and everything, they pulled from old stories.
Right.
That were told that were not original to them.
Exactly.
Pinocchio, I think, was one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Snow White.
Things that were fairy tales.
Fairy tales.
That sort of thing. Yeah.
But they made them into movies.
Absolutely.
And which changed a lot of us when we watched all those and got different things from them because, it was a good versus evil, a lot of it. And that was the tale as old as time, and not to quote Beauty and the Beast, but
but you just did. Are you going to sing for us now?
No.
All right. Okay, so creative juices. And so everyone is creative in some capacity. And creativity is not just for art, music, literature, etc. Creativity is also for problem solving. Creativity is for decorating.
Absolutely.
Creativity is a lot of things.
That's why we do this podcast.
Right.
Because we are creatives. And right now, this is about the only outlet for creativity that I've got right now.
Right, in your limited
in my limited capacity.
Yeah.
So that's why I love doing this because it's a lot of fun. I get to talk to you, and we get to talk to our audience and get comments. Some good, some bad.
That's okay. We welcome it all. So bring it on.
Man, they're so much fun. I mean, the comments are great. I love it.
There are always going to be people out there who are just looking for someone to critique.
Trolls.
And so when we share, especially like reels and short videos from our podcast, we'll sometimes get just people being hateful, and that's okay, because
what was the thing?
They're entitled.
What was it was like, they'll let just anybody get a podcast.
Right, just about anybody can do a podcast these
That's
days.
what it was,
and I said, yeah, pretty much,
It's free country.
Right. Exactly.
Go do one. If you don't like ours, go find your own.
Exactly. And, sometimes we get knocked for, our Christian faith, and that's okay because I was a person who used to knock others for their Christian faith until I had an encounter with God. So,
well, that brings up a good subject.
I say bring it on.
Yeah, I say bring it on. And that brings up a good subject, too. Your creativity will be critiqued.
Oh, yeah.
Always.
Right. The only people not being critiqued are people who aren't doing anything.
That's it.
So if you're trying any kind of endeavor, and sometimes it's going to be the people closest to you who maybe they won't say it out loud, but silently they're thinking, who is he or who is she to think that they should be doing something creative? But isn't it interesting that we can see something that strangers are doing and we're okay with it. It's like, well, that's okay. That musician is a musician. But the moment someone that we know embarks on some kind of effort, it's like,
well, who are they?
Well, and it goes back to what they said about Jesus. A prophet is not without honor except in his own hometown.
Right.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's like, how could somebody from my little hometown do something that's worthwhile? I mean,
Right.
it's human nature to think that way.
And even if those hometown folk that they didn't know you. Now, some of them hometown is like, oh, they're from my hometown and they're doing something.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's mostly the ones that didn't really know you
Mm-hmm.
that are like, they're doing something and they're from here. And it brings inspiration to those
That's true.
people.
Yeah.
The ones that really, critique you are family and friends and
Yeah. And that's
everything.
all right.
And that's fine because they feel like they have a say in your life, which, I mean, somewhat they do, I guess. A little, I don't know. But creatives, they've been the
butt of jokes.
the bottom of the barrel ever since creativity has been a thing. The traveling minstrel, the jester, the craftsman.
Right.
Some of them were very. I mean, even Leonardo da Vinci was kind of like the butt of the joke because, what did he? I mean, was it Leonardo that painted? He was like he painted the palace or whatever. He would paint like just regular painting.
Yeah.
I mean, not like.
Oh, right, like a painter,
He was
like a
just
hired painter, contractor.
I mean, he was a contractor painter.
Yeah.
And the lowest of the lows. I mean, he was ridiculed for his inventions. He was ridiculed for all of the creativity. But oh wow, look now, we've got the flying machine that he was like.
Yeah.
He designed a plane.
Mm-hmm.
He designed multiple, I think he did a coffee maker or something like that, or a tea maker or something like that.
Him. Yeah.
But I mean, yep.
Yeah. Thank you.
So yeah, thanks, Leonardo. But he had so many different inventions, and he was so creative. But they ridiculed him until now.
Right.
In the past 200 years, Da Vinci has been like, well, I mean, we edit on DaVinci Pro.
Software name.
A software named after Leonardo da Vinci.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it is. I think it is. Yeah. By it's Black Magic production company. But anyway.
Cool. Well, that's awesome. Yeah. Great points. And let's talk about a few more little nuggets about creativity.
Nuggets.
Now, this quote isn't attributed to anyone, but I read it in a book that I have about creativity. And it says, often we are at our most creative when we stop trying to be creative.
This is true. Yeah.
It's like when you stop striving.
It's like something's got to happen. I got to make something.
Yeah.
It's when you relax, chill, and sit back and just be that the creativity comes. And I've noticed that. I have noticed that.
Yeah.
When I'm trying to write a song, I can't do it. When I'm just sitting there and I'm just playing on the guitar, I can write a song.
Right. And, one thing that I know writers are told is when you're writing, if you're writing a book, whatever the case may be, you don't think about publication. You don't think about that next step. You just write.
Right.
And same with anything, you don't think about how the finished product is going to be received because that's just going to distract you from actually creating a good finished product.
Right.
It's kind of a conundrum.
It is. It's like
true.
you can't have the audience in mind.
Yes.
Almost. But if you just turn off all care. About what people think.
It's like a lot of things. It's simple, but yet it's not easy to do. And I wanted to say, I think our oldest son, Luke, he has such a great take on things. And he's inspired me a lot because he doesn't care so much about his audience.
Right.
He cares about the art. He cares about what he's doing, and he sees it as something that has eternal value. And I think that's a great way to look at it.
And he seems to be more popular with that crowd. And he gets more fans and more people to.
And he's not trying to get fans.
He's not trying to get that.
Yeah.
But I think it goes back to the old way of doing things. It's when, and I'm not stereotyping or anything like that, but when we were in high school, it was the guys that didn't care or pretended as though they were the bad boy that got the girl. But the guys that were really nice and really easy going and wanted to be, wanted just love. They wanted to be a part of somebody's life. Wanted a girlfriend. it just didn't work out too well
Yeah.
because they were striving so hard.
Right.
Um,
That pushes
it pushes people away.
Yeah.
And I think what we do that sometimes. It's like I was that kid. I was like, teacher, I want to help. I want to help. And I'm gonna run people off, because I wanted to help so much because I had so much love in me. I was like, I want to help. I want to do these things with you, and this is just fun.
Yeah. Well, and it gets interpreted, whether it's intended or not, as seeking validation. And the moment people stop seeking validation from others and they just settle into who they are, that attracts people.
It does.
It attracts people to what you do.
It does because the confidence is there. Quit trying to be what people want you to be and just be what God wanted you to be from the beginning.
That's good.
Learn how to be.
To be.
Or not to be.
No.
That is the question.
To be. I've got another quote here. Comes from Marc Chagall, who was a famous painter. You've probably seen some of his paintings. They're kind of dreamlike. But anyway, I think it's interesting what he says here. If I create from the heart, nearly everything works. If from the head, almost nothing.
That's it.
Yeah. We get so caught up in our head trying to work it out. And I really struggle with this because I'm very much a literalist, as you know.
Oh, yeah.
And, I like things spelled out clearly. But, with art and creativity, true art is going to inspire. It's not going to be didactic, as we say. It's not going to just be teaching a lesson or preaching a sermon. It should inspire instead. And it's not going to, if it's going to be good and it's going to be timeless, it's not going to give all the answers. It's just going to point in a direction and it's going to inspire. Well, I mean, that's what happened when God breathed into the nostrils of Adam. That was what that was an inspire. It was inspiration. It was a breathing in. And that's what we're supposed to do, is breathe into people's lives. And that's what art does. That's what being creative does. That's what being a good craftsman does. If you see a house that's well maintained, that is nice, or a car that is well maintained, there's a creativity in cleaning and staying organized. There's a creativity in being able to keep things in order. Yeah.
And even in the chaos.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's so much order and I think it's chaos theory. It's like there's order in the chaos. And that order is a creative inspiration to others.
Well, I think sometimes too, we don't know when we're inspiring others.
Right.
So by your actions that you take might inspire. I know we see this sometimes even in our neighborhoods. One family decides to get out there and make the landscape look nice, and it just seems like it inspires others to do the same. Maybe it peer pressures the others, but inspires others.
Keep up with the Joneses.
Yeah, and there's a level of that's good, and it can go overboard, of course.
Yep.
But the thing is that the creativeness in you was put there by God, and so you have something that only you can share. That only you have to share. And so... and
everybody has some sort of creative thing they do. And some of them are being an accountant. That's creative because you're taking things and organizing it.
No, that's a bookie when you're creative with numbers. I'm just kidding.
Oh, wow. You're going to talk to my bookie.
Yeah.
No, but see, I mean, I think being able to do your job well. Yes. That's a creative. Knowing when to do something, having good work ethic, that's creative. Creativity is a vast subject, right? Because you are who you are in a way that is unique to you. Your creativity may be similar to somebody else's. But a lot of times, it's unique to you.
Right.
And others that are around you kind of ridicule you that you're copying or you're doing whatever. It may be similar, but don't worry about that. Just be creative.
Yeah.
And we were created in the image of God, right?
Right.
He created us.
The Creator.
The Creator created us in His image. in his likeness, and therein lies the thing, in his likeness. We are to be creative because we were created in the image of God.
Right.
We reflect God. And if there is a telltale sign that you are created by God, is your creativity. I think it shined through, that we are created by a creator who wants us to be creative.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you see the creation being creative, it's inspiring. I was just thinking about those times when maybe I didn't really feel like cooking. Like sometimes I enjoy cooking okay, but I'm not somebody that loves cooking. For some people I know it's relaxing. It's not necessarily relaxing for me. But at times, if I'm watching a cooking show, I mean, it's like you see them doing something so beautifully, and it will be inspiring.
Yeah.
I mean, we both did it before.
Right.
We're watching a cooking show.
Yeah.
Not that we watch them very often, but we have in times past. And then
diners, drive-ins, and dives.
That's so much fun.
Oh, I love that one.
But it will just make you like want to get up and like, what do I have in my pantry? What is in the refrigerator?
Ooh.
What can I make?
And hey, wonder what that'll taste like with this other thing.
Yeah. Yeah,
I do that a lot.
That'd be you a lot.
I get creative in my cooking.
Sometimes it really works,
It
and then
does.
sometimes you're like,
It's bomb.
maybe not. But
Sometimes we get mackerel loaf.
that's more on you than me.
That was on me.
Because we were broke.
We were broke. That's the truth. Broke.
Yeah, he likes to make a joke about the time that, we were broke, and we were first married, and so I was like, well, I don't have meat to make meatloaf, and I've got this can of mackerel. And I don't really want to make
It was awesome.
patties.
Yes.
So let's do something different. Let's make it into a mold like a loaf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was great.
Well, we probably ate it, right?
We did eat it.
Okay,
And
it wasn't
we had,
as bad as that stuff that I came home one time and you had
oh, that was bad. Cabinet surprise.
cabinet surprise. I don't know. He had put all kinds of stuff into a pot. It was bad. It was
so
like, it involved cooked spinach, or canned spinach. Which, I'll eat any vegetable, but canned spinach, I draw the line.
It
that's
was
just
a big pot too.
I
wasn't
know, and that's just slime.
We had to throw it
Okay?
all out.
Oh,
We was like, we're going out to eat.
Yeah.
We can't. We're broke, but we're going to go out to eat.
we're not eating this slime in a pot. So, okay, we both have our moments, but you know what? We learn from it, right?
It was fun.
We won't put canned spinach
We
in a
made
big
a memory.
pot anymore.
No.
I won't make any more mackerel loaf. You guys might not even know what mackerel is. It's like if you're really poor and you can't buy canned salmon, you buy canned mackerel.
Yeah, it's a little cheaper.
Yeah, back when I worked in the prison, that's what the inmates would make in their room. They called it Jack Mac.
Jack Mac. Mm.
Yeah. They'd put some mackerel and mac and cheese. I don't know what all they did. Anyway, I don't know.
Wow. That was creative.
Whew, they had to be creative with what they had, I guess. So
Be creative with what you have. I think that's a good subject. I think the takeaway that I got from this is we should probably stop focusing on be creative and just be creative.
Right.
Just live each day. It's like, oh yeah,
Quit striving.
quit striving for it and just have fun with it. I think that's a big part of it.
That's where you have to go. You have to not be afraid. If you're a writer, write the stuff that seems outlandish. Nobody's reading it at that moment. Just write it. If you're a songwriter, whatever the case may be, don't be afraid to just work outside of the normal, what you think are maybe the normal boundaries.
Citizen Kane was a prime example of that. Orson Welles, he would break. So in the camera world, you have 180 degrees of separation between the characters. Well, he would break that, and he would like jump from outside the 180 degrees, go to like the 270 or something like that.
Which revealed the ceiling in weird ways,
right? So
strange
it would just
camera angles,
and just he broke that rule, which broke reality a little bit. But he took a creative move.
Yeah, and anybody who's ever been an innovator, a forerunner, is going to do that to some degree. Now, you can get into craziness where there are those people who are just breaking rules for the sake of breaking rules, and it gets kind of absurd.
Yeah.
And there actually is,
that's just rebellious.
the absurdist movement, which is kind of useless to me. But anyway, on that note, though, I think, yes, the great another takeaway is, don't get so caught up in your head and just
have fun.
Have fun. That's
Have
a good way
fun.
to end it. Have fun.
Fun.
Summer is here. Be creative and have fun. How's that?
I like it.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. And if you would subscribe to this channel, it really helps us out. It helps other people find us. That's really our goal.
Yeah.
If you like the video or share it, that also helps us out.
And
we
tell
appreciate
others about us. If you enjoy the content, I think this might be episode 70.
I think it is.
So we're moving on. But subscribe and just help us out here.
Yeah, and if you have topic ideas, just drop them in the comments below. We'll consider it.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, guys. We'll see you on the next episode.
God bless.
Don't forget to like this video and please subscribe to our channel. Drop your comments below. We'd love to hear from you. If you prefer audio podcasts, please follow us on your favorite streaming platform.